Where does it come from? Where did it travel through? How did it get to you? Do you know seafood? And that's what I think our core mission at KnowSeafood is. For decades, as long as I've been in the seafood industry, the people that are making the decisions of what seafood consumers can consume have been the middle people. We see that their first concern is not always quality, it's price. It can take at least 4 to 5 different people touching your seafood before you consume it. You have the harvester that goes to a processor, that goes to an exporter, that goes to an importer, to a wholesaler, to a distributor, and then finally to either the restaurant or the retailer. It can be anywhere from 7 to 21 days old by the time it was taken out of the water, it was processed and went through the supply chain and finally got to you. So what does fresh really mean? How safe is the seafood? Has there been any additives to extend its shelf life? Has there been any kind of processes to try to keep it fresher longer? We need to take that middle piece out. We need to remove the middleman, because that's where we have the issues. So what are we doing different at KnowSeafood? Well, we're going to get you sustainable, natural, and trusted seafood. And our whole idea is to take it immediately from harvest, freeze it in that portion, and get that directly to you. Absolutely, the way we're doing it is unique because the way we freeze, coming out of the water or coming off the boat, it is intensely frozen, not like your refrigerators at home. We're talking minus 40 to minus 80 degrees Celsius, which absolutely blasts that frozen, and it keeps all of the cells together, all those natural juices that you're looking for in seafood. And when you thaw this at home, you'd have to go to the boat to get something that's going to taste as good as what our seafood is going to be. We're going to put you first. Instead of having anybody in the middle making the decisions of what type of product that you can buy, at what price and at what quality, you can make this decision. One of the biggest issues we have in the seafood industry is traceability. Where did this fish come from? How fresh is it? With our traceability system using a technology called blockchain, you will know before you even buy your product where it was harvested, when it was harvested, and by who it was harvested. So we'll take that information and you'll see it before you purchase, and then when you get your product at home, it even gets better. You're going to be able to see a code on there that you'll be able to scan. You'll be able to know where, actually see how, know some great recipes, and even better than that, connect to a community of nobodies. And nobodies would be people like you who have purchased the same product, like these scallops, off this same boat, off this same trip, off this same lot. And you can see what they did with those scallops, whether their recipes were, and maybe they can share it with you. Those are the changes we want to make at KnowSeafood. We want to put you first. We want to do better. We want socially conscious fish. We want sustainability. We want to do right for the ocean. And most of all, we want to be trusted. And that's what KnowSeafood is all about. My name is Dan McQuaid, and I was fortunate enough to grow up in a great town called New Bedford, Massachusetts, and grew up on Buzzards Bay. The ocean has always been a big part of my life, and seafood a huge part of my life as it became something as a professional career as well. I got involved in the food industry right out of college. My whole career stayed there. And recently, in the past 20, 25 years, I've worked specifically in the seafood industry. I was working with a friend of mine that owned a scallop company in New Bedford, Massachusetts, and we're actually trying to bring a new product to the marketplace. A few months later, I got a phone call from a guy named Paul, and he says, hey, I was wondering if you could come down and talk to me. We have a scallop company that we're starting here in New Bedford. I actually went down there and I met Paul and his partners at that time, and they were doing really a new venture, a startup.
Dan and I's journey started probably about 15, 20 years ago. My name is Paul Neves. I'm 4th generation in the seafood industry. I have been doing it pretty much since I was born. Most kids were playing with Legos. I was playing with lobsters in my grandfather's pilot house. I'm 4th generation. My family started in Portugal and in Europe and Brazil. Immigrated here. We're some of the pioneers in the New Bedford fishing industry back in the late 60s and early 70s. Looking back to the early days when Dan used to come in, we didn't have any money to pay him. So we brainstormed on Fridays, and Dan would bring beer and we would give him scallops.
And the vision was really cool because it had never been done before. And I just loved working with Paul and his team because they wanted to do things right.
With KnowSeafood, what I'd like to do is actually take all the experience I've had and share it with the consumer. We know seafood. We've done it. We grew up in it. We live it. We actually know the people that are doing it. And we want to bridge that gap and bring it to you so that you'll know how it's caught, where it's caught, and who caught it. And then you'll be able to connect with them, because ultimately that's what people want. Part of KnowSeafood's mission is to connect the consumer with the harvester. And it's not just because the consumer wants to be connected to the harvester actually wants to be connected with the consumer.
So by joining our campaign at KnowSeafood, we want you to be part of the change that we want to make in the seafood industry. We want to make things better. That's our mission here. And when you get your box with us, or you join our campaign, you're going to be introduced to some terrific product. As we go forward, you're going to be able to either build your own box, you can have a box that we put together with you. There might be a special box. We're even going to have chef-created boxes that we're going to have chefs from around the country. They're going to select their favorite species, and they're going to create recipes, and you can get those recipes directly from these great chefs. So we are KnowSeafood. I think together, you and us, we can change the seafood industry. We're working with our global suppliers that have products that you align with, that are sustainable, that are natural, that are socially conscious, taking care of the oceans. And what we've been able to do with these partners, such as our Maldoni tuna that comes from the Maldives, that's hand caught by the day and then brought in. We're going to talk about our salmon from Norway. That's absolutely amazing. It's the #1 sushi salmon in Japan. You would never know who they are because that story never gets told to you. We're going to be able to tell you about our mahi-mahi that comes out of Peru, that is artisanal. They're day boats that come in. All of these seafood companies, you're going to know their name. You're going to know when they were caught. You're going to be able to trust your seafood. So we look forward to bringing you trusted seafood that's sustainable and natural and actually feels good. It does feel good that you'll be able to enjoy when you know seafood.